By the way, have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? You need to do it. Do you know that there is a lot of unsaid and little things that are so important in on Christmas story? This is online marketplace believers, an online platform that encourages, equips you for ministry. Welcome. My name is John Kemani. Now, last week we talked about Bethlehem, and we said that Bethlehem was such a small town, but again with us with that was strategically placed by God to bring a unique message from God. Now, allow us now to go to another to switch gears and talk about the five women. Now, from Matthew chapter 1 all the way to the first 17 verses, you will discover that there is among the genealogy of Jesus Christ, there were five women. I said five women. Now, it was peculiar, it was not normal for women to be mentioned in a genealogy because Jewish were normally a male dominated community. And so for a woman to appear, then that woman must have been very special. Now, let's go through the list for now. The first woman that comes up in this list is Tamar. Tamar, who is a mother of twins of Perez, which means breaking out, and Sarah, which means flashing out. Now, this woman was not good because she is the one who tricked his father into sex. By the way, she did not have good marriage. Her marriage with Judah's eldest son El was premature because El was wicked and was killed by God. When she was married by his brother Onan, Onan also misbehaved. He did not want her to have children with her, so God also was angry with her. He killed her. And again, when Judah looks at this woman, he sees her as a cursed woman, as a woman who attracts misfortune in life. And so he does not actually give her to be married by his that born son. Very tragic. But what does she do? She decides to take matters in her own hands. And what does she do? She disguises herself as a prostitute and goes and sleeps with her own father-in-law, and the story is so tragic. But again, at the end of the day, she gives birth to twins. That is Perez and Sarah. And it looks is a woman who was full of troubles. Rahab is the second one. Rahab, which means spacious or broad, is a prostitute. She did not have a very admirable character. She was a Canaanite, again coming from a tribe of the rejected, of the hated, of those who not become part and parcel of the Israelites. But what happens when the 12 spies goes out to spy out the Canaanite land? Now I don't know how they cross the roads, but I want to believe through God's strategic moves, and He saves them. Actually, she saves them. She was the person who was supposed to expose them, but actually she decides to save them, and she does it because of two reasons. Number one, she had heard about the fame and the greatness and the power of God. That shows that God had done so wonderful things that everybody had heard about it. But again, she even preached for salvation, and I think that's why she is recorded, because she is a woman of faith. And instead of exposing the men of God, instead of making the mission impossible, she made the mission possible. A prostitute on one hand, but again a blessing to the 12 spies. Actually, she ended up saving her whole family. Bathsheba comes third. Now, she is not mentioned by name, but Matthew just decides to call her Uriah's wife. She is a Hittite. Again, she does not come from the chosen family. And I don't know, she goes out to bathe outside, and the theologians actually tell us that she was doing ceremonial washing after her month of after menstrual cycle, and she was supposed to do it outside. What happened is that David sees her and looks beautiful, and what does she do? What does David do? He sends out men to take her, which means it was against her choice. It was not something that she had consented. Before she knew it, she was expectant. Before she knew it, things were not going well for her because the baby died. Now, apart from the loneliness occasioned by her husband's absence, as she was with surprised, unexpected pregnancy, or with and then with no notice, the baby dies. Tragic, terrible problems there. Then Ruth comes on forth. Now, Ruth was a widow, again a Moabite. Again, she does not come from the chosen generation. But again, for Ruth, she again enjoyed, she did not enjoy good marriage, because we see her when she got married to Kilion, to one of the Elimelech's son. The Elimelech's sons dies without them having children, and they have to travel all the way from Moab, all the way to Bethlehem, Judah. But because of our hard work, because of our honesty, and we say therefore 3H, because of our hard work, because of her honest, and because she was helpful, she ended up meeting Boaz, who married her, and again they continued the lineage of Jesus Christ. Now, Mary, who means beloved, is a virgin, but and engaged to Joseph. And what happens? An angel comes and interrupts her plans, her marriage plans, her proposal. And like from the look of things, is like he destroys the marriage plans in which Mary had. And what happens is that Mary, despite the odds, despite the funny way of giving birth, of receiving this pregnancy, she says, "Okay, I'm ready. I will follow. I'm the Lord's servant. May it be done as He pleases." Now, from these five women, we pick four the important lessons that we pick from this. Number one, very quickly, is that we are important in God's eyes. Even prostitute, even men and women who are useless, even men and women who are wicked. Look at Rahab, a prostitute. Look at Tamar, who actually seduces his own father-in-law into sex. God just uses them despite their mistakes, despite their sins, despite the bad things they had done. God chooses to use them, and which says it doesn't matter the bad things that we do, but in God's eyes we are important. The society might look on us like social outcasts, like the rejected rot, like the scum of the society, but God still finds importance in us. God attach importance to our lives. And so if you're there, you are rejected, people don't like you, people avoid you, I want to tell you, in God's eyes you are very important. Number two, we are included. Think about Moabite, think about Hittite, the Bathsheba. Think about the Canaanite, the Rahab. And it just shows that God is using the mistake of people to include, to bring them close. These people were not supposed to be part of the loyal family, but look at them at the tail end of it. Matthew recorded them because they were included, they were part and parcel of God. And God has included us, and allow me to say, we cannot be deleted. People cannot delete us. People cannot cancel our names. We are in the list of God. We are there. We are part and parcel. Number three, we are involved in God's divine plan, in God's strategic plan, in God's universal plan, in God's global plan. We are involved. Think about it for a second. Think about Bathsheba. Think about Rahab. Think about Tamar. These were women who should not be even get close to God's plan. But again, we see them being involved in giving birth to the children that they gave birth to. God was actually including them. God was actually recruiting them to be able to execute his plan at the tail end of the day. And then number 4, we are immovable. Look at these women, social outcast with no name, with the bad character, especially Rahab and Tamar. But again, despite their wickedness, God is putting them there. The challenges, the odds are not removing them from God's plan. Or even consider somebody like Ruth, who faced lots and lots of challenges in life. But again, despite those challenges in life, God still made sure that he was not moved. She was not deleted. She was not distracted. She was still in the plan. Christmas is a season that reminds us that we are VIP, that we are valuable, that we are important, that we are powerful. And so we can celebrate Christmas because whether we come from this tribe or we don't come from this other tribe, we are very important before the eyes of God. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank so much for those of you that have followed us. Until next week, such a time as this, my name is John Kemani. Remember what you always say here, inawezekana. Have a blessed night.